A lot of people assume that they are going to get trained in carrying a concealed weapon at the class. Not true. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In some previous videos, we were working with Kayla and getting her introduced to handguns. Out of that, she expressed her desire to achieve a concealed handgun license here in the state of Ohio. So, Kayla, I'm understanding you've scheduled for your class, correct?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Okay. And you used a private person or a shooting range?
Well, what I went ahead and did, I actually called multiple places. I had to look up their schedules, what days they had the classes to make sure it fit with my needs. I have kids at home, so I needed to see, okay, do I need a babysitter or not?
Right, of course.
And yes, I ended up choosing Midwest Shooting Center.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yep, in Lima,
Sure.
here in Ohio. Just because really they have, their classes are on Sundays and it's a 1 day, 8-hour long class, and that just happened to work for me.
Sure. So Midwest, for those of you that don't know, it has, I believe, 7 locations maybe by now in multiple states. Pennsylvania, Ohio, of course, and I believe into Indiana now. So they're a reputable company for sure and very accommodating. So the purpose of today's video is to kind of share some information with people that might shock you.
Okay.
And I don't know if it'll offend concealed carry instructors or not. I don't care if it does. I'm just going to tell you how it is, okay?
Okay.
So the first thing you got to get into your mind is that it is good information, but it's not good training. A lot of people assume that they are going to get trained in carrying a concealed weapon at the class. Not true. I don't know of a single instructor that actually has the student draw the gun from a holster, even non-concealed or slick. The problem is the way things are structured is they are not trained. And at times they walk away with the idea that they're good. This is all the training that they're ever going to need. You see the problem?
I do. Personally, I would not feel comfortable with that. My whole goal was to make sure that, I went ahead and I purchased the firearm. I went through and did as many, training sessions as I could. So I felt competent and safe to operate my firearm. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to go ahead and take this class.
Yeah. So that's the thing is it's all about mindset because after I promise I'm done picking on concealed carry instructors. It's excellent information and everybody that owns a gun should go to the class because you don't know what you don't know related to where you can have the firearm, where you can't. And it's a big topic to delve into. Now, keep in mind, according to the state of Ohio, you don't even need to go to the class. It became a right to carry or constitutional carry state, however you want to categorize the idea that in Ohio, you do not need a license any longer to carry a concealed handgun. Okay. But before we go any further, I was in a class a while ago, actually, it was way more than a while ago now that I think about it. It was probably like 15 years ago. And there was a couple of students there that were unaware that the license only gave them the right to carry a handgun because it says CCW, concealed carry weapon.
Right.
There's a huge difference. And I think by now what they're going to do is channel people more towards CHL, concealed handgun license. But even though the state of Ohio, it says ohio.ccw on their own website. So keep in mind, it's for handgun only, right? Most of the time that goes without saying until you're in a class where people are not aware of that.
Okay.
I don't know whether they were intending to carry a rocket launcher in their pocket or what the story was, but keep in mind, right? Handgun only.
Right.
So the next issue is that if you don't have the license in Ohio, you can't carry the gun into Indiana. Very large disconnect in a lot of people's minds that way. That for you to legally carry your gun in another state, you must be a permitted carrier in Ohio. So that's another advantage of going to the class. Another one would be it kind of moves you to the speedy line as far as purchasing of guns in the future. You don't have to be called in for the ATF background check. As long as you have a valid driver's license and a valid concealed carry license, your card, it makes things a lot easier.
Right. That'd be nice.
So that's cool, right? Good thing. But going into it, you have to keep in mind, one, that there is no set curriculum in Ohio for how well you have to work the gun to graduate. That's a myth. Shocked by that?
Yes, I am.
There is not a bare minimum standard in Ohio. There isn't. It's all at the discretion of the instructor.
Okay.
So I know of no instructors that make students shoot for time. I know of no instructors that have a set course of fire that's terribly challenging. So I think they have people take longer shots just to get used to it, which is prudent. But as an example, you're not going to be scored by most instructors. Now, I don't know how Midwest does their business in the interest of full disclosure, okay? It's going to be pass-fail in the instructor's mind. Are you dangerous? Are you not dangerous? And whatever sort of, in my opinion, subjective kind of opinion they're going to cast on a student. Having said that, just based on my observation of you before and a lot of experience watching concealed carry classes that I didn't even need to be in, you're going to be fine.
Okay.
You'll be good.
That's good to know.
It's not hard. And one of the things that's happened over the slow course of time in Ohio, and I'm sure in other states as well, concealed handgun license class has been sort of tilted towards the beginner, which makes no sense to me. Right? As you said, you would want to be at a certain level before you would take the gun into public, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's almost not what happens. And somehow it's been boiled down to, this is the first class you take for newbies, and then we'll start carrying the gun. I know of people that have went to the class, and in Ohio, you have up to 3 years to obtain the license from the time you went to class. What sends them out to the sheriff's office to actually complete the license is they're running out of time. I know of people that have done this, and they haven't had contact with the gun for 3 years.
Wow.
And the mentality is they don't want to waste their money and their class run out, so off they go. Now, do they carry the gun in public? No. Same people, they don't, which is good. But at the end of the day, you can see that the margin of error is pretty good, right? So when you go, just get all the information that you can. It's excellent information. Once again, everybody should go. But there's a lot of problems with it. And sometimes your expectations are a little too high. You know, as a student, why wouldn't you think that? That this would cover everything that you need to cover, and it really almost doesn't even scratch the surface. So now we're getting into the roots of my problems with concealed carry instructors and the way that the whole business is structured, because it's a business.
Right.
If you don't mind me asking, ballpark more than $100?
Yes.
Okay. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So if I'm running a business, and out of that business, what you expect is a certification to go carry a gun, and I decide by a large percentage that no, you're not ready to do that, and you flunk the class, my business isn't going to go very good, is it?
Right.
It's built-in conflict of interest. It's not me against Midwest or concealed carry instructors anyway. There's just a reason why I won't ever teach those classes.
Right.
I don't like the conflict of interest. I can't prove this, but one of the reasons why I think the state kind of did away with the actual requirement of going to the class was everybody passed. I know of a longtime instructor here in Findlay who told me when we were getting ready to shoot this video that the only person that he's ever flunked has been a immigrant with a huge language barrier. And there was just no communication possible. So obviously he did the right thing and said no. Because I was just curious about asking him, well, how many people haven't made it? And this guy's been doing this a long time.
Yeah. See, my mindset is to always be as prepared as I can be. Of course. If I need to read or study anything before I go, then that's exactly what I want to do. So I understand that you're saying that there's going to be a vast array of different experience levels, different preparedness, I guess you could say.
Sure.
But one thing that I did is I know that we're required in Ohio to read the Ohio Concealed Carry Laws and Application Handbook.
Sure.
And I figured if I have to read that before I can get my, you said CHL?
Yeah.
Then I should probably read that before I go ahead and take the class. Would that prepare me or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You really would get a lot more out of the class if you did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't want the first time you're introduced to these topics to kind of be from an instructor. Yeah, absolutely, that's totally prudent.
Okay.
So they get you through the class. If you don't read it, you can still get through the class. Right? Problem being, you're still going to be responsible for the information that's in the booklet. Lord forbid if you ever need your gun.
Right.
Ignorance of the law isn't going to work. So keep that in mind. Read it and read it and read it. In fact, you have to sign that you read it when you renew.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a thing where you had to shoot and to renew your license. So it was usually a 2-day class back then. Day 1 was the classroom. Day 2 was the range part. And you had to go back to renew your card for at least the range portion. They don't do that anymore. You just get the information online. You go down to the sheriff's office and say, yep, I read that. And off you go. Pay them your money and,
Right.
case dismissed, so to speak. So do they read it? Probably not. Should they? Absolutely.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Okay. And looking into this course with this 8-hour long day,
Sure.
a good portion of it is just the classroom portion. So,
Right.
Whatever, 6 hours or so of it.
Right.
And then at the very end of that class, you're required to take a written test.
Sure.
That test, I mean, you have to get 100% on it in order to...
You do not.
Okay.
I'm at least in my experience with this is you have to get like maybe an 80, but it's not like if you miss a question, you're out.
Okay.
That's usually not the case.
Got it. Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, it's not near that high of a standard. And most of the time it's open book.
That works too.
Because it would be hard for the way a lot of adults learn to make them responsible for a fairly large book, let's say 10, 15, 20 pages,
Mm-hmm.
and do this in 8 hours and then read and memorize that. That's really not the way adults like to learn.
Right.
So the open book is, hey, I can go to this booklet and find out this information. So it's open book anyway, usually.
Okay.
I mean, there might be some weird cats out there that aren't doing open book, but...
Well, we'll see what Midwest does.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
open
and
book.
I like Midwest. I mean, I know a bunch of their employees. I have total respect for their business. I just, once again, their goal is to get you certified, take your money, and not get sued.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
Okay.
They want to be able to look back in their vast archive of records and say, at one time, Kayla McNally told me that she knew what she was and wasn't supposed to do with that firearm. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's their basis of protection. Their ability to tell their lawyer that on a certain date you were so informed and you shot so well. And if there's a problem on your part, a bad shooting, a good shooting where you negligently shoot an innocent bystander, what's going to happen is whoever's on the business end of your gun,
mm-hmm.
even if it's a bad guy, is going to sue you. They're going to probably sue your concealed handgun license instructor / business for sending you out into the world as an armed citizen, in their opinion, obviously not knowing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
See where we're going with this?
Yeah.
So, and this has always been the weird thing to me about this business, is if I'm in that situation as an instructor, I want to be really, really sure about who it is I'm sending out into the world armed. They don't really care. And I'm not joking. I can't explain that. I'm just going to tell you, I've been to concealed carry classes where a lot of the people, not a lot, a small portion of the students walked out of that class with a certificate that never successfully loaded their own magazine.
Wow. That's concerning.
And I think that's one of the reasons, like I told you before, that the state did away with it. Everybody passed.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you saying to me?
Right.
kind of give you a little bit of an introduction into the mindset of how concealed carry works. This is going to be a business transaction.
Okay. It tends to take away a little bit of nerves, I think, just a little bit.
Yeah. And keep in mind, it's incumbent upon you to be, I don't want to say better, but more responsible as an armed citizen, because that is not something that you will ever get from any concealed carry class.
Well, no matter what, I'm taking this as a learning opportunity. Sure. I mean, it's a class, so there's going to be information there that I may just not know anything about, especially like legal issues. Yeah. That I find very interesting and I need to be up on just in case. But I'm excited for the class.
Oh, you should be. Yeah, and I'm not trying to rain on the parade, so to speak, or dampen your enthusiasm. Right. You just have to keep in mind when they tell you, did they happen to tell you how many rounds you're going to shoot? Did they tell you you need to bring 100 rounds?
They did. Yep, they said 100 rounds.
Yeah, so that's not a lot. You've shot enough to know that's not a lot, right?
Right.
Now, is it enough? I think for most students, it's enough to demonstrate some kind of proficiency. If you're not proficient, is it enough? No. And you'll see. Maybe I'm completely wrong and you'll come away with a totally different kind of view of it than I have. Right. But I'm old and jaded. I just think that this thing has turned into a exchange of money instead of perhaps what it should be. Compared it to driving a car. Not everybody gets their driver's license on the first try, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I hear you.
So, okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, hopefully I didn't, throw a wet blanket on your handgun enthusiasm, but just keep in mind, it's good information. It's not good training.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Well, I'm already prepared. I have my duffel bag ready to go. I have this for notes taking. I have my rounds, my hearing protection, eye protection.
Awesome. Gun clean and all that.
Yep. It's good.
Perfect. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll do fine. You're totally prepared.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks a lot for your time, guys. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe. And if you know somebody who's on the fence about taking a concealed carry class, perhaps share this video with them so they can kind of get prepared in their mind about what is and is not going to happen when they go. And that's irrespective of what state they live in. It's a business and it's going to be treated accordingly.
Hi, everyone. Thank you first for watching and joining me in my journey in regards to owning and operating a firearm. I did set forth some goals for myself. One, of course, was to purchase my very first firearm, which I have already done. And then my second goal, after some practice, making sure I can safely operate that firearm, my equalizer, was to go ahead and take some training courses such as a CCW. That is actually what I'm doing today. I am here at Midwest Shooting Center at their Lima, Ohio location. I'm very excited to go in there and start. It's an 8-hour class. It only takes 1 day. Some classes I looked at were 2 days. They kind of split it up. This one just fit my needs more. But yes, I'm very excited to go in to see what other tidbits of knowledge I can obtain through these experienced individuals. I also think I'm as prepared as I can be. I am here with my firearm, my 100 rounds of ammo, my hearing protection, my eye protection. I have lunch and something to drink and closed-toed shoes, so I'm ready to go. Yes, there are some nerves there, but I'm hoping that will dissipate and everything will go well. I have a lot going into this. Rodney has helped me out tremendously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push stop on this, but if I'm allowed any type of breaks, I may come out during those breaks just to share my thoughts and let you know what we've been doing so far. Thank you. Well, I did it. I completed the CCW class here at Midwest Shooting in the Lima, Ohio location. The instructor was extremely informative, learned a lot. It was kind of information overload. It's a long day, 8 full hours. It's now almost nighttime, but I went in prepared, at least as well as I could be. I made sure that I shot my firearm. So I was comfortable with operating it safely. There was a bunch of drills at the very end that we did for the shooting portion. I would say there was approximately 8 different drills that we did. We had to pair up because there was 14 people in this class, so we had to share lanes, which was absolutely fine. But we went back and forth, and then we ended with a qualification round, which was 15 rounds, 5 at 5 yards, 5 at 7 yards, and then 5 at 10 yards. We needed to stay within the A zone, so center mass, and I did fairly well there. Everything stayed within that area. I had one that was kind of on the line. Nerves, I could tell, got to me a little bit, but I passed. I have my certification letter, and so now I just need to follow the next steps to get my CHL. But other than that, I'm excited for the rest of this journey and what all else I have to learn.
We decided we were going to do a little recap about your concealed carry license and how it all went.
Yes.
So, what'd you think?
I think it went fairly well, actually. It was a long day.
Oh, yeah.
8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Classroom portion, it was, it was out of the book.
Right.
So didn't have to worry about the test. We could go as long as we wanted to, really.
Okay.
And then we went through it as a whole class at the very, very end and answered any questions if anybody got anything incorrect.
Right.
It was a PowerPoint the entire time, and every single slide pretty much was verbatim what was in the book. So that was fine.
Sure.
We had a little tiny break where they provided pizza and drinks and all that good stuff. So that was very nice as well, accommodating. And then we went into the shooting portion, which we had a bunch of drills that we needed to go through.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm. So designed to pass.
Yes.
More or less, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It was a large class, too.
Oh, how many?
About 14.
Yeah, that is plenty.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure, based on what I know about Midwest, lead instructor was very prepared, very knowledgeable. So no issues with that, right?
Right.
Shooting portion, shot what distance, you suppose? I mean, like, you said you did multiple drills. They spend most of their time usually up close, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was about 8 drills or so.
Wow.
And it ranged from 3 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, and the furthest out was 10.
So how did they score it? Did they score it at all? Is it pretty much like you're in the black? Or?
I mean, it wasn't really scored. They preferred you staying in the A zone, so that torso area as much as possible. And there was really only one instructor there just going down each lane. And the thing is that we had to partner up because there were so many people there. So we had to take turns.
Okay. We were working 3, 5, 7, and 10 yards, you said.
Yes, correct.
When target engagement started, your position was low ready, high or compressed ready?
It was actually a mixture of low ready and then compressed.
Okay.
So there was multiple drills that we did. It just depended on what was listed on the form.
Sure, but no holster work?
No, not at all.
And certainly no training on how to clear a garment. Pulling the gun live out from concealment system wasn't part of
No, it was
drill.
not.
Not unusual.
Okay.
I'm not saying that there's nobody doing that, but I don't know of any instructor that does that.
We had students that asked if we were going to be doing that during any of the drills, and they said, not today. This is not the class for it.
No, and I don't know that I would disagree. Mm-hmm. My disagreement comes with the fact that at the end of the day, they end up with a concealed carry license. Mm-hmm. All right. I guess you get to figure that part out on your own.
Right.
But I'm glad it was a good experience for you. I really am. I mean, I kind of knew none of that's a shock to me. A lot of times when people advertise for a concealed carry class, they actually say no holster required. Mm-hmm. Right there on the description of the class.
Right.
So not a shock. And that's not a critique on Midwest in any way. Like I said, I know of none that are doing that.
Okay.
So, true or not true, there is not you shot a 75 or you shot an 80, right?
Right.
So what did you have a challenge? Did you struggle with one drill more than the other?
I did, actually. There was one particular drill that was going from shoulder to shoulder. So I was fine going center mass to the head area because that's what I practiced in previous drills.
Pretty linear.
Yeah. But for some reason, doing it this way.
So when you're tracking like that,
Yeah.
target transition or whatever, usually target transition is targets 3-6 feet apart, something like that. What happens is when you start to move the gun, your eyes are following the gun. And what should happen is eyes go in and the gun follows it.
Okay.
So if this is all happening at the same time, it's very common to overdrive the gun. So you notice you're outside.
Yes.
You know, because this is all happening at the same time and you don't hit the brake.
Yeah, I can see that's exactly what I was doing because I was just outside of the shoulder.
But we'll work on that. That's very common.
Okay.
You know, that's why you go. So you did learn stuff. So
yes.
I'm a little bit wrong. It is good training somewhat, right?
Right.
So that's a positive. And it's going to come down to pretty much like I knew Midwest was a solid company, very good. You wouldn't be wasting your money at all with them. And they certify people pretty efficiently, you would agree? I mean, they do a good job for sure. So I'm glad you got some good stuff out of the shooting portion. So have we been to the sheriff's office and passed your background check and all of that stuff? I mean, you a card holder?
Yes, I am a card holder. I went ahead and grabbed that. So here's that.
Well, I'm good for you. And I'm glad you did that because I know a ton of people, and we kind of touched on this in their other video, that they just wait forever. It's like the pressure, they don't really want to do it, or they kind of fall out of love of trying to carry the gun out in public, and then they're there at lace.
Yeah.
If I had a nickel for every person that's called instructors I know trying to find their certification because they've lost it over the months, that's the thing. So if you're going to wade out into the pool, don't wait. And I'm glad you didn't. I wasn't going to.
Right. No, the class was on a Sunday, and I think I went to the sheriff's office on Tuesday. So Perfect. It was only a couple days after that.
Perfect. So now what?
So now what? I keep on training.
Good. And that's the goal, right?
Right.
Contact with the gun every day safely and however that fits your lifestyle. And you just kind of never stop doing it.
Right.
And when you do is when you'll get in trouble. That's the people that always worried me, was the ones that are saying, I'm going to go to some large city, so I need my gun. Fearful. I mean, that's probably not the way you want to do it, right?
Right.
So you're on the right track. Everything good. I'm glad that the class was a positive thing for you. I knew it probably would be, but depending on how things go. Well, I'm glad you had a good experience. I'm glad you got the card. Now you're a legal firearm carrier in the state of Ohio.
Yes.
So when we perhaps get together again, we're going to sort of speed things up as far as how quickly you're going to work the gun and kind of get some tidbits that way and sort of streamline the process of how the gun goes from point A to point B.
Okay.
A little more efficiently.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing your experience with us. Thanks for participating, sharing your experience, and we'll see you guys in the future.
Thank you.